time to go back to the beginning and do it all over again on Overview with Asteroid G. You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G, winner of the All-State Preteen Tournament 3 years running before being disqualified for not being a preteen. I am your host, Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Josh Schaefer, Part 3.
What happened to the first two?
You know.
Black Belt Queen Bee.
And Bex the Snacks. Yeah.
The what?
The Snacks.
Bex the Snacks.
It's like snake, but an X, so it rhymes.
Bex the Snacks.
I like it.
So today we are going to be discussing, as if you might not have already guessed, the Karate Kid series. A lovely overview here on Asteroid G as we go through all the movies and the new TV show that's been out for 2 seasons so far on YouTube Red, before switching to Netflix for its upcoming 3rd season, and apparently already a 4th season, because it's already been renewed for that, despite the fact the 3rd season hasn't already debuted. So we're going to get into the meat of all of this so far, but let's go with the most topical part first off. Just in general, what are your guys' thoughts on Cobra Kai?
Are you talking about the organization or the television program?
Either or, whatever.
Well, 1980s/1990s, Josh would have told you that Cobra Kai is an organization for bad people, maybe even fascist-type people.
Okay.
But modern-day Josh would tell you that it's a very ambiguous thing, and I'm not sure who the bad guy is in Cobra Kai. So,
yeah, we'll get into those plot details in a bit. But B, what do you think of the TV show?
For the show is amazing. I was very apprehensive. I really liked the Karate Kid movies to start, except the one with Hillary Swank, which was stupid. And then Cobra Kai, I was apprehensive because I was going, okay, is it going to be like 1980s kind of television, or is it going to be like, where are we going to come into this? And actually, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually really like it. It's very engaging. And yes, Josh is correct. You don't know who the bad guy actually is, because when they compare things within the show, it's like, Daniel is still a hothead, and Johnny is still, didn't ever really learn his lesson, but he's become softer over the years, as some adults actually do become softer over the years. So it was very real, and I really liked it.
Bex, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much the same. It's just I came into it expecting like a mockumentary kind of
vibe.
Like it wasn't going to be serious at all, and then all of a sudden it's hitting us with the truth of the life and shit, and I'm just like, whoa, I did not sign up for this. What? Thoroughly not disappointed either. I'm actually impressed, especially with all the little nods they gave to the movie and such, and just, they lovingly did this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the beginning of the series, and we'll start covering through all of it right now. And that takes us back to 1984 for the very first movie in the series, The Karate Kid.
I wasn't even born!
Wow.
I was just born. I was born in 1984, so...
I was 85, boy!
So, Daniel LaRusso is a New Jersey kid dragged across the country by his mom so she can accept a job at a restaurant, of all places. And he does not fit in with the high school that he's at. Doesn't really make any friends outside of the girlfriend that he meets. Elizabeth Shue's character, whatever her name was, Allie or something.
Allie Mills.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's really the only person he knows or hangs out with during the course of the movie. So their love connection is pretty much set in stone, because who else is he going to fall in love with or even be friends with? He has no one. Poor kid. But the girl he's interested in, Allie, is the ex-girlfriend of Johnny, our villain for this one. Well, villain-ish. He's
villain in quotation marks.
Yeah, because as we learn in that movie, and this is one thing that I really liked about the first Karate Kid, that the second movie kind of plays on, but really the TV show goes with as well, is the fact that Johnny is just doing as he's learned. Johnny is just kind of operating within like the the grouping, the clique that he's in, which is not just being a popular kid at school, but also being part of the Cobra Kai's, which is, no mercy to the death kind of karate fighting. And getting on their bad side because Johnny still wants his girl back and the girl doesn't want anything to do with him, puts our hero, Daniel-san, at odds with Johnny. If not for Miyagi, the janitor at his apartment building, who takes him under his wing and teaches him Miyagi-Do karate, Daniel would probably just be a beat-up little pulp of the kid for the rest of his high school career, but instead becomes a karate fighting force and takes on Johnny on the mat at the all-youth karate tournament or whatever it's called.
All Valley, under 18, All Valley karate tournament.
Yeah, that really just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It was the 80s. It was a different time.
That's karate for you.
So, I don't remember much of this movie growing up. Like, I didn't really get a good watch of this film until a couple months back when I did it for just the website. I guess it's the thing of I didn't see it in theaters with UB and the rest of the sisters. I just kind of caught bits and pieces of it on HBO, and I was actually impressed by how good the movie was. It's very 80s. It's very montagey 80s. Daniel goes from not knowing karate to doing some painting, and suddenly it's been 2 months and he knows karate. But despite the cheesy 80s tunes and the cheesy 80s fashions, it's actually, in all honesty, not a bad riff on Rocky.
No, I mean it's literally Rocky.
It just
pretty
kids.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wins.
Wait, let me give you some background here. I did not go to the theaters to see Karate Kid. I was not interested as a kid in 1984.
That's fair.
However, in 1986,
Okay.
Karate Kid had become so popular
Uh-huh.
that it became a reading assignment for, I think I was in high school. So it was, I think, my freshman year. They had a reading assignment where you had to read through it like a play.
Wow.
And I got to be Allie in that scenario. So that was very fun for me.
And then you ended up liking the story afterwards.
And then I went and actually at HBO decided to watch The Karate Kid. And I think at that point, Karate Kid 2 had already just come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's where my love of Karate Kid came into. Now, I have taken martial arts. I think Bex the Snex has also taken a form of Taekwondo or karate or...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Josh too? So three of us.
Yeah,
Three
it
of
was
us have
actually
some kind of martial art background.
Yeah, I'm the weenie that hasn't taken anything except dance.
close
But
enough.
it was interpretive dance, so it doesn't count.
I did Tai Chi.
Center
but that's basically
stage. Okay. And then, so just, fun facts of certain things that are going on in this movie is that in Cobra Kai, they do have a lot of recall of the people who were in the original movie. So I'm really excited to see, and they probably are going to bring back Elizabeth Shue as Allie because she just ended her stint on The Boys.
Yeah, she's got nothing better going on. I'm sure she'll come back. But yeah, you do raise a good point. The new TV show is very caught up, especially in the first movie, although it makes reference to the second and third ones. Doesn't make any reference to the fourth ones because most people don't care about it. But it makes reference to the trilogy, but it really emphasizes the third or the first one. And the dynamic between Daniel and Johnny and the dynamic between Daniel and Miyagi that they try and copy over to Johnny and the kid that he trains, Miguel, and then Daniel and his two students, his daughter and then Johnny's son, neither of whose names I can remember because I'm terrible with names. But there's a lot of paralleling of those kinds of things and callbacks to the original movie. So at the very least, if you want to be prepared for the new show, the 2 seasons that are out and the new seasons that are going to be coming, watching the first movie feels like essential watching.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the TV show does do because I couldn't find a copy of the original trilogy quick enough to watch it, but
what you remember
it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I remember it pretty well. I've watched it quite a few times, but the Cobra Kai has enough, I guess, flashbacks of the original movies that I didn't feel like there was any missing information.
They fill you in.
Yeah, they fill you in.
Yeah, and the few jokes that they make that aren't due to a flashback or something, because they have fun poking fun at themselves from time to
Oh,
time.
sure, yeah.
The how do you want me to wash these windows? Who gives a shit? Like just
Yeah.
wash them. Yeah, like things like that. You know the lines innately, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have a flashback. These are just key moments that everyone knows from these films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second
But
one, and let's Bex,
Okinawa.
did you have anything to add?
No, I'm good.
Oh, so the second one.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. The second one. We have Johnny, not Johnny. Johnny's not in this movie. Well, he kind of is for like 5 seconds, but
Daniel LaRusso.
yeah. After the end of the tournament, when Allie just magically disappears and no one seems to care.
Oh no, she decides to go to a college. I mean, they do mention this in the second movie.
She
goes-
dumps
She
him.
does,
She
yeah.
dumps him at prom to go be with someone
Yes.
else and go to college. But if you will note, that was because they basically wrote the actress out because Elizabeth Shue is missed not appearing in this movie. So
Right.
I think I have a feeling that if she'd actually wanted to be in it, or they had wanted to continue that love story at all, that would have had a very different intro and she would have been there. It's just conspicuous that they walk out of the building they were just in where Allie was there, and Allie is nowhere to be found. Since
Yeah,
didn't
she's
she
gone.
like right over there with them? Like, dude, that's rude. Anyway, once we get past that and the whole end of the tournament and all that jazz, Miyagi gets news that his father is dying. Miyagi fled from Japan years and years ago to avoid a fight with his best friend because they were both in love with the same woman. He has to go back to Japan, and Daniel, of course, goes with him because one of these. The movie is not Miyagi. The movie is the Karate Kid, so the Karate Kid has to be involved. So they go to Japan, and that immediately mires both of them in the bullshit of the same feud from the best from before that Miyagi doesn't want to fight over. He left to try and save face for everyone, but his friend of 30 years ago is still holding a grudge, and so basically they have to figure out how to ease tensions and get the friendship back, all while at the same time karate fighting happens.
Okay, but you're missing on a key point here. At the end of the first movie and the beginning of the second movie, Miyagi basically lays out John Kreese, who is the teacher of Cobra Kai at that time.
It's true.
Lays him out flat, gives him a bloody nose, and he is disgraced, dishonor into his cow and all. That is basically where we've gone with this. So
yeah, I mean that's
and
influential.
It's important. Yeah, it's important for Cobra Kai.
It's
not
influential to that,
necessarily
but it really feeds into the third movie, which is where it's more important because then it feeds into Cobra Kai and the storyline of the second season of the show. But as far as like the plot of the second movie, this is an addendum that we're only going to really get back to afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know if they're actually going to bring anything from the second movie back. I mean, they kind of did with regards to the tree that the bonsai trees that Daniel loves so much, because that was all about second movie too. So
second and third, yeah, the bonsai trees, and then the third becomes his like business enterprise with Miyagi, which, as we learn in the TV show, fails. But yeah, there's a lot of that too. But yeah, like they give him a wife in the TV show. Even though, like, by the end of the second movie, he had a girl that he was really interested in, who they then write out in the third movie. And it's like, you could have brought any of these ladies back if they were interested, and, like, built off the relationship they had from the movies in the new TV show. And I gotta tell you, I liked the love interest from the second movie. I thought she was pretty cool.
The Japanese one who wanted to be a dancer?
The dancer, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
that's not realistic.
I want to add, too, that have you guys seen the trailer for the third?
I have not watched it. Like when it comes to shows that I'm already invested in, I tend not to watch trailers because I just don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, so I won't spoil this though, but there is something in there that indicates that the second Karate Kid movie will come into play.
Ooh, hello, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But no one cares.
I don't want to spoil it.
I get you.
Yeah.
The second movie though, like. I like it. I like the change of scenery. I like emphasizing Miyagi's storyline and making the movie as much about him as Daniel-san. But at a certain point, it then just kind of becomes a rehash of the first movie all over again.
Yeah, I mean, the third movie was kind of the same.
Oh my god, third one's so terrible about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third movie was kind of boring.
Yes, thank you. The third movie is the first one again, to a T. Another the same tournament a year later, even though Daniel's now like 3 years older, and the movie kind of acknowledges that, and like
Right.
yeah,
But he's allowed to fight because he's the champion.
Yeah, they make a rule for this one movie where he doesn't even have to fight any of the previous fights, just the championship fight, which never comes up again. Yeah, the third movie is kind of a mess, but the whole story of it, as you were talking about from the second one, at the start of the second movie, Kreese is beating the shit out of Johnny for Johnny failing to win the tournament. So Miyagi goes and beats the shit out of Kreese, and as we learn at the start of the third movie, Kreese has like lost his business and lost all face, and is just a sad sack wretch of a man. So he goes and talks to an old military buddy of him who's somehow fantabulously wealthy. And the two of them hatch a scheme where they're going to like ruin Daniel and ruin his chances of winning so that the Cobra Kai tournament or dojo will once again win the tournament and they will be fabulously wealthy once more. It's a very confused and stupid plotline.
Yeah, and it doesn't work at all. It doesn't even hold water. No. It doesn't make sense.
It's so boring. And like they give Daniel a girl, but because the actress who played her was underage at the time, she can't even be a love interest because that was creepy. So they're just kind of friends, and then she just vanishes halfway into the film. Like it's a mess.
Like it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. None of it works. Kreese is a good villain. They didn't need the other villain, the rich guy, because he's just terrible. And like Johnny's just gone, and Johnny was one of the only interesting characters in the Cobra Kai to begin with. So you've got like a bunch of random no-name Cobra Kais who want to fight Daniel. You're like, why am I supposed to care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a great movie at all.
No,
but Cobra Kai is a good show.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We do have two other movies that we have to touch upon first.
We don't really have to. I mean, we don't have to.
Well, we have the Hillary Swank movie, the next Karate Kid.
Which was awful.
Okay, the first half isn't bad, but it just kind of gets caught up in like rehashing the same storylines just with a new character, and then gets really
and a new villain who is kind of the same kind of villain.
Kreese, but a military school teacher who then encourages his students to like destroy public property, set a car on fire, and almost murder someone. And you're sitting there going, how are any of you people not in prison after this? Like, what? But Hillary Swank wasn't bad.
But the official villain in the next Karate Kid was Alpha Elite. That's their name.
No, it was the teacher. It was Michael Ironside. I don't even know what the teacher's name was. He's just literally Michael Ironside. Like, he's got a villain name all on his own. He doesn't need to have a character name.
But the Alpha Elite is the school, so...
Yeah, the group of people who, like, act as patrols in the school and are just bullies to everyone. So they're both the cool kids and yet the nerdy patrols at the same time. Figure that shit out.
So you're talking about the fourth movie to talk about. You're talking about the kind of reboot of the Karate Kid, where Jaden Smith goes to China. Yep. And again, that would not be karate.
No, that's kung fu.
That would be kung fu.
Yep.
So it should be the Kung Fu Kid.
Yeah, isn't there a line in the movie where the kid's like, "I'm learning karate," and Jackie Chan's character has to be like, "Bitch, you're learning kung fu."
Right? Probably.
Yeah. Like I get you're reusing the same storyline so you can tell Rocky again for like the fifth time at this point. But dude, it's not karate. It just It wasn't a bad movie, but it was a completely unnecessary movie, rendered especially so by the TV show.
To be fair, I actually like it because I am a fan of Jackie Chan and I am a fan of Jaden Smith. Regardless of what I think he's gender something.
Is Jaden Smith
is he like non-binary?
Maybe, yeah. He changed his gender, cool. I think.
Oh well, good for him. Good for them.
So, for whatever he wants to be, you be that. I'm proud of you. But I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of Will Smith. I'm a fan of Jada Smith. The entire Smith family. I could watch in anything and be very happy.
Except for
you know what? I even enjoyed that because I I let the entire badness of the movie because I really like Will Smith.
Okay.
I was like going, man, I know you can make money, but come on. But to be fair, it was not a bad movie, and I actually enjoyed it for what it was. But you're right, it is a kung fu movie, not a karate movie, and I really like Jackie Chan. So if we were to do a love it or hate it, I'd probably be on the love it side rather than the hate it side.
There's an idea.
Yeah, and I would probably be with B on that because I remember enjoying it when I did see it. Granted, it's probably been more than 10 years.
I will tell you the moment the movie loses me. It loses me at the climax when they have to do this bad CGI'd wire work thing for him to do his backflip kick to knock the kid over because the basic crane kick from the original movie wasn't good enough, and it looks atrocious. It's so bad, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. And also, the United States was the only place that called it the Karate Kid. It was called the Kung Fu. It was called the Kung Fu Dream in China.
Wow.
And South Korea called it the Best Kid.
Well, you have to wonder if those movies, the original movies, actually came out overseas for them because, China has very strict limits on how many U.S. movies they'll allow to be imported and released in theaters. So it's a possibility the name The Karate Kid or whatever they called it there didn't hold the same weight, so calling it that wouldn't have mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: China feels the same way about Will Smith as I do.
That actually leads into a topic that's not at all related to what we're discussing, but it is worth touching upon. Big, overblown action movies with very expressive actors do well in overseas markets, just because of the fact that when you have to overdub things or subtitle them or whatever, what they're looking for at that point is flashy stuff and expressive faces that they can read and enjoy without the delivery of the lines carrying through. So yeah.
Another fun fact, though, is when you have Samuel L. Jackson in a movie, he does all of his own redubs.
That's awesome.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so back to the Karate Kid.
Yes. Okay, so we're since we're way off topic at this point, so we are through the movies, and I think it's good to, before we move any further, to rank them. And I would do 1 and 2, then probably the remake, then 4, then 3.
Yeah, I think I honestly would have the same.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So
and don't forget about that. Where would you place the animated Karate Kid?
I haven't watched it. It's probably trash, though.
It's not very good.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware there was one.
Yeah, there is one. Miyagi and Daniel, who are not voiced by their original actors, go on an exploration to find mystical artifacts and something. It only went 12 episodes and then died in 1989, so...
It was 13 episodes.
Whatever.
But I used to watch it because how old was I? I was 5 or 6 in 1989, so it was on that Saturday morning block.
Yeah.
I think it was on ABC, NBC, I remember. But
Wikipedia knows, I don't know.
I tried to watch some clips on YouTube and it was trash.
Yeah. I would probably rank it higher than I would the Jalico Karate Kid 2 video game. I watched parts of that one. That is hot garbage. So. Oh
yeah, the Karate Kid video games are terrible.
Yeah. So the next Karate Kid, much better than that. The TV show though. Let's get into this because I feel like this is our real meat of the discussion here. And as you guys touched upon, I will reiterate, I was surprised at how good that TV show really was. I was actually, for the first 10 episodes, legitimately angry at how good that TV show was.
Same. I was expecting it to be kind of garbage, I think Becky said, and I was like, man, I don't want to watch this for a stupid podcast. Yeah. But second episode, I was Josette and I finished it in one day, both seasons,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We finished it in 2 days. And before we suggested it, because it just flew by. It's so easy to watch, and you're not going, oh, okay. There were some scenes that were a little bit 80s and
80s
drama
and cheesy,
for the drama for drama's sake, but it was really good. The only thing I don't really embrace is his wife. And I think Daniel's wife, and I think it's because she's too good for him.
There's. I think Becky, you'll probably touch upon this as well. She comes across as kind of bitchy at the start of the season, like the first season, but then you realize that it's just because of the relationship she had with Daniel and how it's already changing by the time the first couple episodes come around. And like at a certain point you recognize that she's grounding him in a way that Miyagi kind of did, but she doesn't care about karate. So the second he gets into karate, the two of them just start really growing apart, and you're kind of like, girl, you can do better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. But I'm sitting there trying to psychoanalyze their marriage. That's the problem.
he has money, and I think it was also like he's just reverted. Like I think she even says that she's like, is this some sort of weird midlife crisis? But he's essentially reverting back to his like 16, 17-year-old self.
Yeah, pretty much.
With like childish rivalries, and and I'm really glad that the Cobra Kai television show, like Johnny straight up tells Daniel, it's like, you cheated in the tournament. It was like, you kicked me in my face, and it kind of, from Johnny's perspective, he's telling Miguel that, like, this is all the shit that Danny did to me when I was in high school. Like, what a fucking jerk. Like, I didn't do anything to him. Like, so like it's cool to see both sides of the story, and it kind of adds to the, well, who's actually the guy I'm supposed to be rooting against? Like, I'm not sure.
Well, if any of you guys have watched How I Met Your Mother, the character played by Neil Patrick Harris, they have like an entire arc about how he loves the Karate Kid, and he's on the side of Cobra Kai because he said Daniel basically ruined Johnny's life, kind of thing. So. Yeah. And I think that's when this whole Cobra Kai thing came into development ideas, is when they came together for that episode.
Yeah, because I think
so too.
Both the actors showed up for it and did some fun with it and so forth and all of that. And it spurned on the idea that they could actually do a revival of this because of that. But it is a point to be made. The movie, from Daniel's perspective, paints Johnny as this overtop villain. But when you get the background of Johnny's side of it, like how he grew up, as we see on the TV show, the crap that he had to go through, the training that he was given. Yes, he is kind of villainous at times, but there's certainly revisionist history on both sides of it. So
yeah, and I also feel like that they're coming at it. I love how they're coming at it from the two different angles things. That's such my jam. But it's like two different kinds of traumas, and then what happens when they meet. And it's just a wild psychological thing to witness.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. The first season like goes through it, and of course it builds to the all youth whatever tournament. Because that's how these things work. And the first season of the show very much wants to kind of like parallel the movie, but from the opposite perspective of the Cobra Kai. And you see Johnny like doing the same kinds of things with his students that Kreese did with him up to a point. But then when like his students start acting too out of hand, or they try and start cheating in the tournament, he like, instead of like the teacher encouraging them, he's sitting there going, "What the fuck are you doing, guys? Stop. This is a tournament and we need to play fair. This is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do."
Yeah. That's exactly the whole. That's why I actually like Johnny's character.
Yeah,
I don't find him as abrasive as Daniel Russo's character.
Yeah.
Because you would think that Daniel would have grown out of his hot-headedness by now. Even with Miyagi dying, you're not going to have it come back as strong as Daniel's been playing it. But you also see, because they have a few episodes where they come together because his wife and his girlfriend are like, we should sit at the same table, because they show up at a restaurant together, and you find out they're basically very similar, and they're really trying to help kids and bring back some kind of peace to all these kids who are getting bullied. They really just want to help the kids who are getting bullied across the board, and recenter his daughter, and recenter Johnny's son, who is under Daniel's purview. And then you have Johnny, who is basically, he is kind of, in the world we live in, the society we live in, it is abuse, but it's soft abuse to the point of, don't be such a pussy. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not something that anybody wants to admit to, but sometimes, and I'm not saying that I condone it, so don't, reach out and tell me how terrible a person I am. But sometimes for some people, you basically have to hit them upside the head and say, stop it. Stop being so weak. You are better than this. And some people need to hear it a different way. No, that's all.
Yeah. And I kind of want to take that and springboard off of it, because I just had this realization of like going back through the movies and up to, the TV series, is where between Miyagi and the Cobra Kai sensei, where it's like, okay, Danny needed Miyagi because Danny was a freaking hothead, and Miyagi was very like, tone that shit down, even yourself out.
Find your
Whereas Johnny, he was raised through some shit, so he kind of needed to be tough through that. So I think that was almost a demonstration, whether they realized it or not, where it's like they're teaching the kids to get through their own crap in the way that they kind of needed to. Danny with trying to not be as much of a hothead, and Johnny with, well, you're in this shit, so you gotta toughen up.
You gotta find a way through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't think that Johnny's methods were too different than Daniel's throughout Cobra Kai, but
oh yeah, that's what I love too, because it's like he took the shitty. He was trying to take the good stuff out of his shitty teachings, the way he was taught. He's like, wait, there's an essence here that's really cool, and it's like how he got that one kid to toughen up, to not like just be a victim with stuff anymore. Granted, then you kind of get to see how it can be taken too far, but even then,
Hawk.
Hawk. Yeah. And even then, Johnny realizes, wait, okay, it's finding that path of like, okay, pushing them, and it's like, okay, wait, maybe reel it in some like responsible toughness,
Yeah, but and that's the thing, like one thing that I wish my martial arts studio, or I do, Taekwondo. Well, it's all online now because of pandemic, but like when we would spar and stuff, it'd be like, we'd have pads on and stuff, and it's like, only use 10% of your power because you don't want to hurt the other person. But if you're
even with pads,
like I get in trouble because I hit too hard.
Not like that.
No, I mean, like I get it for the kids, but some of the adults out there, like, you can go as hard as you want because that's how you. Oh yeah, but I mean that's how you learn how to fight. Like if you're in a fight. And like this is kind of like the Cobra Kai aspect. They're not going to just be like, okay, well, let's put these pads on real quick. Like you have to get hurt.
Right.
A little bit.
I'm not going to hit you in the convenience store. Why don't you go outside and put some pads on? Then we'll take it outside.
Yeah, like I'm not going to be like, well, hold on a second, let me take my shoes off real quick because
exactly.
But and I think mine's might be because it's more kid oriented because it's like they cater to children, but I want to.
Josh, it's because you're a big kid. Just own it.
Oh no, like I'm 6'5" and I weigh 300 pounds. Like, like if I went full force on someone, like it's gonna hurt. So I get that, and I want to do that, but like I can see Johnny's thing is like, okay, well, like the episode where he's like everyone gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Like, because it's true. Like, once you get punched in the face once, you don't need to, like, that shit hurts, but you're not afraid of it because
it's already happened.
It's already happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I did like about my karate sensei is, I mean, we did use pads sometimes, but
he never held back, Bex. I was at some of your things, and he don't hold back.
Oh no, he doesn't, and it's fantastic. He's very measured. And it's like, especially when we're practicing and light sparring, and we do these exercises where it's like we're hitting bone against bone because he's like, you know what, you got to strengthen your bones because when you're up against someone, as Josh was saying, you're not going to have pads. The pads are basically trying to help you with, in case your form is a little wrong, that's how I broke my foot. And because I decided to kick someone's knee a few different times because they moved it in the wrong spot when they weren't supposed to. But anyway, it's just this nice realization of, okay, so this is what it feels like when I punch someone in the stomach. This is what it feels like when I get punched. And so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, well, because half of fighting is learning how to take the punch too.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a lesson that I think the show, to a certain extent, tried to teach its characters in the first season, and, as you said, with the way the Cobra Kai teachings go, pushed it too far. That does actually make me curious about third season, because, without too much spoilers, Johnny is not part of Cobra Kai anymore by the end of the second season. So where he goes and what he does as a sensei from that point forward, I'm kind of wondering if he's going to join up with, like, Miyagi-Do or something and bury the hatchet with Daniel, and the two of them will start centering off of each other or something, which could be curious. But to get back to my point, you had the nerdy kids that were friends with Miguel. Both of them try and join the dojo, Cobra Kai. One of the two of them, leaves and then goes and joins Miyagi-Do eventually, and he's terrible at fighting, but eventually gets just strong enough to defend himself, which good for him. The other one, bails out and then immediately comes back and has gotten a back tattoo somehow and has, a mohawk and starts calling himself Hawk and goes hardcore into Cobra Kai and just becomes this, defensive thug. And, for a little while you cheer for him because he's toughened up, and he, the teaching said, it's life is beating you down, you need to find a way to toughen yourself up so you can take it. But then he goes too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's both, the show is, it presents heroes and villains, but it also is happy to, let them transition from one to the other and back to show that they're growing and evolving and learning or not learning or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think... go ahead.
I appreciate it how they bring it as not a purely linear thing, because life lessons are so rarely linear like that. It's okay, you got it, and then you're kind of missing it, and then you come back, and I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And was Josh going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was pretty much going to say that, but in
less eloquent. Well, one thing I do want to touch on before I forget, because I keep remembering, but then not, is the quality of the karate from the first movie until, Cobra Kai. Oh my god, Cobra Kai is so much better. You could tell they're actually martial artists.
Yeah. Came in to actually do the martial art training so that everybody looks like they're actually doing martial arts, which is great.
Yeah, no, the karate in the first three movies is pretty laughably bad, especially when Miyagi starts doing it, because you could tell Pat Morita had no clue what he was doing with that. One improvement Jackie Chan brought to his film. That's the one thing I would actually credit Hillary Swank for, is it actually looked like, even if she didn't do a lot of it, she did some karate training, so what maneuvers she performed seemed halfway plausible.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, the karate in the TV show is so much better. It's actual karate.
Oh yeah, when I watch them do katas, I'm just yes.
So I guess, this has been going for a little while. Do we have any other topics to touch on for Karate Kid? Any final thoughts, anything like that?
Just
real good.
If you're listening to this and we haven't encouraged you to go watch it, go watch it. It is really good.
Yeah, they do enough flashbacks in the show that even if you haven't seen the movies in a while or ever, you're not really missing out. You might not get some of the dynamics between Johnny and Daniel, but they kind of fill you in on a lot of that. And what's vital of the show is presented in the show. So if you're not a fan of the Karate Kid movies, you don't have to worry about that. This show pokes fun enough of it to get you invested in the fact that they have a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but they're going to take the story in different directions. And I think just in all respects, the setup, the karate, the acting, the storyline, all that, it is a vast improvement over the movies that came before, and I actually like the first two movies.
Yeah, I do too.
Nice.
All right. Well, in that case, this has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. I am Sensei Mike Finkelstein.
Thank you, Sensei.
You are
Domo.
welcome. 10 flips now.
Domo. Oh yeah, I'm Josh Schaefer. I should probably say that too, right? Yeah.
I'm Queen Bee with a black belt.
And I'm Bex the Snicks.
And we will see you next time.